Hi, it's James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I'm going to show you how to play Trekking the National Parks. This is going to be the third edition for this game. And in this game, it's going to be 1 to 5 players. It's going to be published by Underdog Games, and you're going to be going through all the different national parks in the United States. You're going to be camping at some, you're going to be exploring others, you're going to be collecting stones as you go along for a set collection portion of this game. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'm going to show you how to play Trekking the national parks. All right, so this is Trekking the national parks, and in this game you're going to be scoring points by traveling throughout the United States and either collecting these stones, or you're going to be visiting these parks or camping at these parks. And the ways that you can score in this game is you can explore parks. If you explore a park here, you're going to need to have the matching symbols here, and then you'll score this many points at the end of the game and you'll take this card. If you visit some of these parks here, you're going to need to have these symbols on your cards to go there, and then you're going to put your little tent that you'll get on there and score those points and get some cool special abilities. The other way is you're going to be collecting stones throughout the board. I'm going to show you those in a minute. And you're going to get 1 victory point per stone. However, if you have the most of any of the colors, you're going to get some points there too. So that's what you're going to be doing in the game. How do you set up the game? Well, setup for the game is fairly easy. This actually deck, by the way, comes pre-shuffled, but the Trek deck, you're going to shuffle it if it isn't your first game, and place out 5 cards here, face up. You're also going to take a stack of these major park cards and randomly place out 3. And these are going to be the ones that you're going to use in the game. The other 3 we're going to go back in the box. You'll shuffle up this deck here, which is going to be your regular park cards, and you're going to place out 3 and place the deck here face down. This will show you an idea of where the next one is, but it won't show you what the requirement is for the card. And every card in here does have a blurb about that location too, so that's really cool. So this one has a little blurb about Yellowstone. What else are you going to do? Well, you're going to give each player a trekker and place them on start, and you're going to give them their 3 tents. You're going to give them 2 trekker cards from the top of the deck there, a player reference sheet that shows you what you can do on your turn, and they're ready to go. So what else do you do? One last thing, you're going to have to place out these stones. The game comes with this really cool leather drawstring bag here, and you're going to randomly place these stones, 1 in each location except for start. I'll go ahead and do that, and then we're going to move to the next part. All right, so now that the stones are all out, you can place this bag back in the box. It's no longer needed. All right, so that concludes setup. That's going to be how you set up the game here. All right, so what are we going to be doing here? Well, we're going to be taking turns here, and we're going to be trying to get these different scoring opportunities throughout the game. But to start, we're going to pick the player who most recently visited a national park here is going to get the first player token here, which is going to be that bear. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick 2 actions on our turn. So on our little player aid here, you can see that on our turn, you may play 2 different actions or the same action twice. So we can draw a Trek card, we can move, we can explore a park, and we can camp at a major park. And here is going to be a reference of what these 3 action spaces here, if we can actually put our little camping thing to give us our bonuses, do. So for example here, this is the Everglades here. The Everglades will let you swap 1 stone you have with 1 from another player, which is going to be a one-time thing. You can see this little lightning symbol on here. That's a one-time. Some of them have infinity symbols on them. Here's an infinity symbol here. At any time, you can take 2 cards from your hand and treat it as a wild. So that one's really cool. This one here is going to be Yellowstone, and this one here, after you explore a park, draw 1 card off the top of the deck. So that's pretty cool. So you're going to gain cards when you explore parks. And there's 3 other ones in the game, and they're explained on the back of here. So if you ever have a question, they're on here. That's the only thing that really has a big iconography in this game for you to learn is those cards. So it's nice it's on the reference sheet. So you're going to be taking your 2 actions from the list of 4 actions until the end game is triggered. So if one of these things happens, the game will end. All the stones are collected on the board, or someone gets their 5th park, and then the game will end. And the game will end where everyone has an equal number of turns. So you'll pay attention to who had the first player token and just make sure everyone got a turn. So if the player who has the first player token ends the game, every other player will get one. If the player to the right of the person that has this token ends the game's just over. All right, so how do you perform these different action here? Well, the easiest is going to be draw a Trek card. So if you draw a Trek card, you simply take a look at your little thing here, and you can take one from the display and put it into your hand, or you can take it from the top of the deck. As soon as you take one away, you're going to refill it. So if 4 of these Trek cards are the same color, then we're actually going to discard all of them. So that's a nice little thing. So if we have 4 greens on here, we can discard all these cards and place out new cards. So there will always be guaranteed at least a set of different cards here, or at least semi-guaranteed that there's going to be a unique set of cards here for you to pick from. Now there's a couple things on the cards that you need to pay attention to. Well, one is going to be the number that's on the card. I got 2 ones, but this number here is the distance I can travel, and I have to travel that complete distance. So if I get, let's say I took draw a Trek card and I got a Trek card, I got this 4 here, so I can move up to 4. So I can use this card for its numeric value for movement, or I can use it for its symbol. Now this isn't going to be 4 of hiking, it's just going to be 1 hiking symbol. So I can use these at these national parks here, or at the major national parks here to fulfill those. So here I need to have one with a canoe, one with a animal, one with trees, and I can get that. That's not going to be 4 trees, that's just going to be 1 tree, and I can use those to spend at those locations. So that's what's special about these cards here, and that's how they function. The next thing you can do is move, and move is going to be fairly simple. So if I have 4 here, and I spend this 4, so I discard the 4, I have to move 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I land there, and there is a stone, I can take the stone and place it in my supply. Those stones are going to give me points at the end of the game. Now, a couple things. If, let's say we have a setup like this black player took this one, this blue player took this one, it's now this yellow player's turn. The yellow player cannot go through other trekkers when they're moving. They can land on the same spot as a trekker, and if they do, they bump that trekker back to start. That's the other part of the movement rules there. You can also combine cards. Like if I wanted to move 5 spaces, I could place these 2 cards together here, and I can move 5 spaces and discard both of them. Now, you're not allowed to backtrack in this game at all, so you have to go in places that you haven't been through your movement or started at. So you have to keep that in mind also. So that's the rules for movement. The next thing we can get into is exploring a park. All right, so if we explore a park, we actually have to be at that location. So these are going to be the parks here. They're going to help you out by showing you on the map here where they're at. So this one here's the Dry Tortugas. You know that it's here. So if the other player ends up here, they'll collect their stone, of course. And then if they have a canoe card in their hand, a bear card in their hand, and a forest card in their hand, they can discard all 3, and they'll gain this card, which will be worth 7 points at the end of the game. They'll then flip over a new card. So that's simply how you explore parks. Now, camping at a major park. So these are the same way. So there's actually a lot in Florida here for some reason. So the Florida Everglades here. So it shows you where it is on here. So if this player made it to the Florida Everglades right here, they collect that stone. And they have 2 canoes, and then they can discard those 2 canoes, and they can place their tent on the major park, and they will get this advantage immediately, so they'll be able to swap stones. Any number of tents can be on here, so other players can also go visit the Florida Everglades, and if they do, they'll get this special ability. They'll also get 5 points at the end of the game. So that's going to be the 4 different things you can do on your turn, and you can double those up, but you have to pick 2. Like I said, we're going to continue on until someone collects either all the stones on the board or someone gets their 5th park. And once that happens, the game will end, and we'll make sure everyone has an equal number of turns, and then we're going to score. Now, the game does come with a score pad to help you score the game, and there's a lot of score sheets in here, and this is pretty straightforward. The way this is going to work is you're going to put your player names across the top here. Then you're going to take a look and score up each of these things. So what are the things that you're going to score? For the first things, you're going to explore the parks that you explored. So however many parks that you scored or explored and you got the cards for, you're going to add those up. So they're all different values here, like this one's 10, 7, or whatever. You add those up, and you'll place that here on the board. The next thing you're going to do is every major park that you got to visit, you'll add 5 points for each one of those and put that on here. Then you're going to get a point per stone, so just count up your stones and put that number on here. Then you're going to see if you had the most or second most of any of the colors. And you can see their values here. It's also printed on the board, so you can look at it at any time. And if you had any of these, you'll just circle those. And then you'll put the total down here on the stone bonus total, and then you put that total down here. And the person with the most points at the end of the game is going to win. However, if there's a tie, the person who scored the most points from park cards and major parks is the winner. If it creates an additional tie, the person with the most stones will win. If it is even possible to have a tie again at that point, both players share the victory. And that's simply how you're going to play Trekking the National Parks. Now, I will mention that there is also a solo mode that you can discover on your own here, but know that this does exist. And it does have some additional game cards here, so components here that you're going to add to the game to play. But it's basically not going to be that complicated to go into, but it does have a lot of interesting strategy that you can have in the game, and is definitely worthwhile if you're into solo games. So yeah, know that that exists. Just wanted to point that out. And that was Trekking the National Parks. Thank you for watching.